glad that every one of you could turn. And we put together this panel for you tonight so that you could clear up some misinformation you may have about some of the youth activities in Washington, most notably the Tough Love Youth Group and Operation Snowball. We have a panel of people from the Tri-County area. Art Williams from Washington is on my immediate left, Darla Utley from Washington, Cheryl Long from Pekin, Sherry Lawson from Mackinac, and Steve Gooding from Washington. They're going to be discussing tonight some of the different aspects of Operation Snowball and the Tough Love Youth Group, as well as talk about the Illinois Teen Institute and some other offshoots of the program. So I invite you to listen and ask any questions you may have after they finish.
My name is Steve Gooding. Operation Snowball is a means by which youth can become more aware of how to deal with the life around them. Tough Love Youth Support Group complements this theme by setting the following goals: to give fellow students an alternative to destructive behavior, to give positive peer pressure, to help improve communication techniques, to promote self-improvement, and to refute the general belief of youth as unconcerned and goalless. Our goal has sponsored such fun activities as skating parties, lock-in, a picnic, and a bonfire. This past October, we went to Garfield Grade School in Peoria to talk with parents and students about drug abuse, how our group got started, and mentioned Operation Snowflake for grades 6 through 8. Our activity committee appeared on Channel 47 Center Stage to talk about the abuse of marijuana. We extended an invitation to all feeder school principals and superintendents to come to one of our after-school meetings. We distributed information on substance abuse and offered our service to help their schools so youngsters can be more knowledgeable and aware. When Dave Story was in Pekin earlier this month, 11 of our members were in attendance at his evening performance. We sponsored a decorated vehicle in the homecoming parade. Our library now has specific areas for drug and alcohol abuse material, a free pamphlet stand, and a file containing material that can be checked out. We have made these things available. Our futures are brighter, and we hope to continue to do the same for others. Darla?
My name is Darla Utley. Operation Snowball was founded in the fall of 1977 in Rockford, Illinois. A group of teenagers attended an ITI, which is Illinois Teenage Institute on Substance Abuse. They wanted to share what they'd experienced with others. They formed a group and soon had a 3-day weekend, and they also worked on day-long workshops, prevention training programs, and community projects. Operation Snowball is a project which is statewide, and currently there are 35 active snowball groups. The reason Operation Snowball is used is you take a snowball, like you roll it down a hill, and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And it goes like, if I have a positive impact on you, you can have a positive impact on someone else. Okay. Operation Snowball is founded on the belief that every person has the capacity to make sound decisions regarding life and behavior based on adequate information and an understanding of oneself's attitudes and motivations. And I'd like to read this to you. Operation Snowball shall be an ongoing support system for youth and adults who wish to provide community-based prevention and health promotion activities with an emphasis on teens helping teens. Such activities should include experimental events, staff training events, and other follow-up education and support programs for communities. Such activities should be designed and delivered by youth and adults together in response to community needs. Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Cheryl Long, and I'm going to talk about ITI, what Darla mentioned before. It's Illinois Teenage Institute, and it originally started in 1975 with 119 teen participants. And ITI has a big role for teen involvement, and they have like YCs, and that's Youth Advisory Council, and their main involvement in the Institute is as support staff and to help work in the process of planning the Institute of that week. And outside of the community, their important role is outstanding and they're supposed to fundraise, make the community aware of what the Institute is doing, and make sure that their role in the Institute provides a genuine and a good quality for all the participants that are there. And the Institute itself is a week-long like camp, one summer. And the last summer that we had 2 institutes because it's getting bigger and bigger each year. And probably from now on we'll have 2. I'm dying. The participants that come to the Institute are area participants from all over the state. Last year we had participants from New York City and Missouri. And mostly it's the emotional effect that brings people back to Operation Snowball. And Operation Snowball is what Sherry's going to talk about.
Okay. I'm going to tell you a little bit of how we spend our time at a snowball event. The main part of your time is spent at general sessions, and which are where all the participants go to this and you have a speaker talk on a specific subject. Some of the subjects that they talk on is like interpersonal communications and assertiveness. You also spend your times at workshops, and workshops you can sign up to go to any workshop you want. You have a variety of choices, and they'll have a speaker there. And some of the workshops we've had is like teenage pregnancy and teen suicide and that type of thing. We also have small groups, and your small groups they split the staff up. You have about 2 staff members split among the teens, and you have maybe 7 to 10 people in each small group, and they talk about for an hour for about what happened in the general sessions or what a speaker has just told them about. A snowflake is an event for pre-high school students, and we hold things like dances and lock-ins, and they're chaperoned and everything. We always have a certain group of people that select the staff for our events. Staff includes professionals in fields such as mental health and health professionals and people from the educational field. Teens should be experienced, which they should have been to a snowball before, and they should have a leadership quality. The kids who can't afford to go to a snowball event are sponsored by or get scholarships from private and business donations. If you know somebody that would like to go to a snowball but can't afford, we would be more than glad to give them a scholarship to go. The money that the participant pays to go to a snowball would be like the cost for lodging and food, and then the t-shirts they receive when they go. To express my personal feelings about a snowball event is very difficult for me. When I go to a snowball event, you get a very positive mental attitude. You feel very high on life, a natural high, and it makes you feel really good, and you take it home with you to the schools and to your family, and it just makes you feel really great. It's taught me how to get along better with others and how to communicate better with others. I hope that I have given you some facts and some feelings about an Operation Snowball event. Arthur.
Thank you. I want to talk to you about Project Avalanche. Project Avalanche, the purpose is to bring together those youth that have already been to an educational weekend, such as Operation Snowball or ITI, and Project Avalanche is sort of like the second step after an Operation Snowball weekend. The teens that go there for educational and peer leadership training that has to do with peer counseling. The primary goal of Project Avalanche is to provide an ongoing experience regarding alcohol and drug abuse and other life problems, and it serves as an effective resource in developing appropriate activities in the community, and tries to motivate kids to get back to their communities and get involved and do their things. When we were at Project Avalanche, we learned a lot about how to communicate better with other people. We learned how to become active listeners, and we learned how to sit through 4 hours of general sessions without moving and it takes a lot out of you. We were there every day. There was a woman named Donna Cotton. She's from Georgia, some college in Georgia. Every day she talked for about 12 hours on peer counseling, how to act, how to deal with somebody, one of your peers coming to you and confronting you with a problem they might have. They taught us how to deal with that, how to sit down and listen to them as help, as well as a friend. On hand are professionals in the field of health, sociology, psychology, education, religion, and social services that help with the training sessions. Project Avalanche also provided many workshops on subjects like drug abuse, fundraising, child abuse, crisis intervention, and there was one on media pressure. I think there was, media pressure. It was located at Camp, I don't know how to say this, Atlantic or something like that. It's located just outside Springfield, and it's owned by the Boy Scouts of America. And it's out in the woods, and it provides a serene, relaxed, and informal atmosphere. There is adult staff there at all times to provide a high level of supervision, and the program is staffed with 24-hour nurse care. And I've been to 2 snowballs in ITI and Project Avalanche in August, and I would highly recommend it to anybody that's been to one of the other, like ITI or snowball. Does anybody have any questions?
How long did the avalanche last?
It lasted 4 days, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and came home Sunday.
And you stayed there the whole time?
Yeah. The boys stayed in a cabin down the road, and the girls stayed in the main
lodge,
the main meeting room.
What was its cost in comparison to Snowball?
Well, the Avalanche cost $50 per person for the 4-day weekend, whereas the Snowball we had in April was $50. So it's the same, yeah.
Only this Avalanche was 4 days, and Snowball is 3.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah. The Avalanche is like I said, the step beyond Snowball toward peer counsel training.
One of the subjects you mentioned was media pressure.
Yeah.
Is that what you said?
Yes.
Could you explain that or give some examples of that? It's excellent discussion topic.
Well, I can think of one, but trying to think.
Or maybe somebody can help you out.
I'm trying to think. Well, there was an article out of a magazine for Cutty Shark or something like that, a whiskey, and it had a glass. It was a zoomed in picture, and the way the ice cubes were in the glass looked like a person with its head severed off, and that was, the guy said that was supposed to be like a death wish. You know, there's all kinds of ads like that. There's one on the Camel cigarette package. I'm not familiar with what it is now. It's something in the Camel. You can look, and these things, in a way, you see those and you like relate to them somehow, and that makes you buy the product.
Girls, do you feel like the media is putting pressure on you? Have you noticed in any way where cigarettes or alcohol in that form of advertising?
Well, lately, I think I've noticed, like on TV, the alcohol commercials are mainly focused on women now. Like going out and buying a six-pack for the husband, or sitting in the bar drinking Pass Blue Ribbon. I think they're focusing more on women now.
How do you feel about that?
I don't personally like it, but I don't like it when a single person is singleized out like that anyway, and they're just, attacked.
Another big media pressure is like, you see those light beer commercials where all the ex-great champion football players are all playing, and kids had seen them when they played football, they were their heroes, and they're seeing now and they're saying, well, it's okay to drink, and they idolize those football players. And then they say, well, it's okay for me to drink. My hero can do it.
Yeah.
You
talking about all these different things, and it seems to me that, you know, maybe only a certain amount of kids are going to the Operation Snowball, the Avalanche, and the, is it ITI?
Yeah.
How do you bring this back to your peers, to your community, to your schools? What do you do in the school or in your community to bring back what you've learned from Operation Snowball and these other groups?
Well, the kids will try and go and explain it to. That's how most of us got up here. Was somebody had went and had experienced it and went back and shared what they had experienced. So, you know, like the snowball effect. If I have an impact on you, you know, and you can go and try to have an impact on someone else too. You know, you can go and experience it for yourself, and if you like it, you can try and share it with someone else, and hopefully they'll go too. You know, you just have to explain what you experienced.
So you're dealing on a one-to-one basis, that you're not in, you know, I know you're here as a group tonight, but normally you're talking about just dealing with one other person, telling them what you experienced and hope that maybe they'll benefit from what you've learned.
Well, yeah, sometimes, but like we went to the grade schools, you know, we've talked to whole classrooms about Operation Snowball and Snowflake, which is for the younger kids. You know, so if we can, hopefully we're having a snowball in January, and I want to talk to the student council and see if we can get some student council representatives to go too, and talk to maybe some certain clubs too, to get some from certain clubs. That way it'll make a broader effect, because if student council knows, you know, maybe they can, you know, expand it within the school.
The other reason not too many kids go is because a lot of the kids are afraid that their parents are going to think they're doing drugs because they ask if they can go to a 3-day retreat. And what Operation Snowball is a prevention program. It's not a counsel program. It just gives the facts. You know, it doesn't preach to you. And a lot of kids think that their mom and dad are going to think they're druggies because they asked to go to it. That's why a lot of them don't go.
Relating to Operation Snowball, because every weekend that you have, just basically every time it's the same, whereas if someone wants to participate again, it's going to be totally the same way. Do you understand?
Yeah, I understand. At the Snowball, when you go each different time, I've been to 3, I think it is, and each different time you have different people to relate with, and you have different speakers and different subjects to talk about. So in my opinion, I wouldn't say that they're all the same. Like sometimes you have, you know, speakers just, sometimes they talk about communications a lot during the weekend, or sometimes they'll talk about counseling a lot during the weekend, or, you know, whatever. It's just, you know, they have different speakers and different people to relate to and talk to about different subjects.
Are you on staff?
Yeah, I'm on staff.
Okay. Well then, you're saying every time you go, even being staff, you learn something new?
Definitely. You always learn something new.
With ITI, is there a limit to how many times you could possibly go? Can you go more than once?
Yes. You can only be a participant once to the Institute, and that's because there's so many teams that want to go that it'd be impossible if you wanted to keep going back each year, because it would just be entirely too crowded. And that's one of the reasons why they have a youth advisory councils. You can't be on the council unless you have participated at the ITI, the Institute, so that you can give your experience of your past institute, but then that's it. You can't go back.
How do you get on the youth advisory council?
Well, in the past years, you've been elected by the participants. You make a speech and they elect you. But probably, most likely, in the future, what they're going to do is like an interview process like they interview for staff.
Where is ITI held?
Monticello. Allerton Park, Monticello. It's a 4-H camp. Pardon me?
I'm sorry, how frequently?
Once a year. And now it'll be twice each year. 2 sessions.
2 6-day sessions each time it's held.
And that's in the summer?
Yes.
Snowflake. Didn't Mackinac experience a snowflake recently?
Yes, we held a lock-in for kids from 5th through 8th grades, and they really enjoyed it. We had a video TV with some films, and we had a movie at the beginning on a little bit about drugs. We invited the parents for, a while in the beginning, and if they wanted to stay, they were welcome to stay. The kids enjoyed some games, and they listened to some music, and then I think it was last weekend, we held a dance for 6th through 8th graders, and that turned out pretty well. But we've had, there was 45, I think, participants in our lock-in, and about 40 at our dance, 35 or 40 at our dance. So Mackinac is doing really well.
How many parents were involved? I'm sorry.
Parents. We have a couple. We didn't have very many people show. Many parents come, and we do need parent involvement in Mackinac.
Are there any other upcoming snowflake events?
We're planning on celebrating the statewide Operation Snowball Day, which is December 5th. We're planning to do it the weekend after that on a Saturday, and we're thinking about going out to the park, and just anybody that wants to come, bring a sled, go sledding, maybe cook hot dogs, or just anything the kids would like to do. We're also going to start getting carpools together, and if the kids can possibly get the money from their parents to go skating or see a movie or anything like that. And Delavan's having a snowflake pretty soon, I understand, from what Cheryl says. That's what I foresee in the future is a lot of activities for Mackinac as far as snowflake goes.
How can you stimulate more parent or adult involvement other than panel such as this or word of mouth? Is there some ways that you could get the parents more involved or adults or community leaders more aware?
That's a good question.
Open for suggestions.
Yeah, we're open for suggestions on that one.
Is it, do the adults or parents, by not being more involved, do you think that they might think it's a passing fad or maybe not take it serious enough?
In some cases, some parents don't necessarily take it either serious enough or they don't realize it's happening with their kids.
Why don't you, Steve, could you relate the Garfield grade school experience?
All right, when we went there, what it was, I think, was a PTC meeting, so that a bunch of parents were already there for their regular annual meeting that they have every month. So since we were there, they had to stay there and listen to us. So they listened to us, and then they went off separately, and then we ended up talking to the kids, and the kids over there really seemed interested. They wanted to know a lot, and were interested in Project Snowflake.
Arthur, relating to Project Avalanche, do you feel that as having this knowledge that you want to learn through your training, that you could just go and counsel somebody, or is it more or less you can be able to listen? Or?
I could be able to listen and probably have an understanding what they're trying to say, but I wouldn't have the right to try to counsel them because I'm not a counselor.
You can also refer them to a counselor of some sort.
But it's just like someone just being there and listening to them or ask your point of view or something.
Yeah.
Do you think Daytona helped to boost tough love?
Washington.
Well, Daytona, what you would almost say, started Tough Love. It was the main thing, because his fundraiser, what we had to do is you had to get so much money for the community, and he got so much for him to come. And since it started Tough Love, then you'd get, the only way that spread was through word of mouth, pretty much, because there was a bunch of kids right in the beginning, and then they all faded off after a while. Everybody wanted to do their own thing again since he was gone.
I was noticing on Operation Snowball And if you read the part about we believe that if given accurate information, we'd be willing to make sound decisions. Do you feel Operation Snowball gives the information needed?
Yes.
Yes.
If you're willing to listen and go out and grab it, it gives you the information.
When you do a snowflake or work with younger people, what do you think the young kids need to hear to help them make a decision, maybe not to get involved with drugs? You know, what kind of things will you tell them or let them know?
Let them know you care and that it's okay to not to do drugs.
Be themselves. Make your own decisions instead of following a crowd.
Any other
Do you
questions?
think it can work? Do you think that that's all it takes for a kid to make a decision like that?
It needs to be ongoing. I mean, you can't just say it once to a little, not little, but a kid, and expect him to be able to make a decision 10 minutes later. No, it has to be an ongoing process.
I think that the kids should be supplied with good information, and maybe the older kids, could tell them their experiences if they have any. Could share with them what's happened to them. Maybe they could learn from that. But I think they need information.
I think what they really need to know is that there's still some people at the high school that are going to be their friends without having to be involved in drugs.
How early do you have to start with kids to make this work?
As early as you could.
As early as they would understand.
Yeah.
Which? Third grade? Third grade.
Yeah.
Do you think that the junior high kids relate more to teenagers than they do to their parents, as far as them saying, no, you don't do this?
Yes.
Yeah, because most of them probably look at the teenagers and in a certain way idolize them more so than they would their parents. Look up to the older kids. If enough people aren't involved in bad things, then it won't be such a great influence on the younger kids.
Would you suggest to these youngsters other things to get involved in? Do you feel being involved in other clubs, whether it be drama or art club?
That's real important, because as soon as the kids get in high school, everybody wants to be in a certain crowd. And if a student can get involved in clubs right away, they won't be as likely to be pressured as into doing drugs, if they're involved in a certain club. That's still going to be around, but it won't be as tempting then, because they know they have something to look forward to then, a certain club, a certain activity.
A lot of the younger kids they don't think they can, or they would, it's right to go skating or something like that, because none of the older kids do it because they think it's not cool. But, I've gone skating the last couple of years a few times, but it's okay to do something that you want to do and not go along with the crowd. And that's another thing Operation Snowball tries to teach kids, the participants, that it's okay to do what you think is okay. That, it's all right to do whatever you want to do as long as it's not going to hurt you.
Arthur, you mentioned peer counsel through Avalanche. Do you know if that's being done in other area high schools?
There's a program, I'm not too familiar with it, but it's over in Limestone High School, where they have students that they have been trained in such as like onto an avalanche, from what I've heard about it, to where the other kids at the school can go to them, and say, I want to talk, listen to me, and those kids have been trained to listen to them and to, like I said, deal with what the kids are throwing at them, and they're the peer counselor to the other student. They're not a trained counselor as far as like a drug or alcohol counselor, mental health counselor, but they're the student that will listen to them.
Do they work in association with the guidance department or with the deans?
I'm not sure on that.
Is there a lot of basic peer pressure that's been put on you because of Operation Snowball?
I would say that I've dealt with peer pressure, for sure, in my school.
They feel we're narcs, and that I don't know the word, but they feel like, well, like we're putting down something that they believe in very strongly, and that kind of turns them off before they give us a chance.
Are you able to deal with that?
Yeah, you just keep trying. You can't give up.
Yeah.
How does a teenager find out about tough love? If they really want to quit?
Well, the best person to contact would probably be one of the deans, and they can get you in touch with the right person. Right now, I don't think we have an activity chairman as such connected with the parent group. And so Mrs. Roper, who is our sponsor, is pretty much running the deal, and I am the chairman of just the students that are involved in that for activities. So if you ask friends, they'll probably tell you.
Any more questions?
I have one more. You talked about getting business sponsors for Operation Snowball. I think that sounds like a really neat idea. But how can an individual specifically go about that who would like to go to the January Snowball? Who do they see? And what is it going to cost?
There'll be some brochures, I think, next week, right here at the high school, where you could, like Steve said, talk to one of the deans, and they could refer you to somebody to find out any questions you could have.
Me or Arthur.
Or someone who does not go to Washington High School could call Washington High School and ask one of the deans for information on Snowball?
Yeah, or they could call the Tasman Center for Human Services. They could probably give some information on it.
What kind of fundraising are you planning at this point to get this scholarship?
Right now, we're going to be selling calendars, calendars in these little plastic folders, I guess.
Okay, are there any more questions? Okay, I'd like to wrap it up by saying that Tri-County Operation Snowball, who these people represent, is sponsored by the Mental Health Association of the Illinois Valley. That's located in Peoria. They are the sponsors currently, and have been able to provide us with some support services that we need, such as telephone, office space, other necessary things like that. I think the most important factor that we have going for us, though, are young people like this. They're willing to sit up here in front of a crowd of people and, as well as one-on-one, talk to their friends and the people they associate on a day-to-day basis and let them know that there are some alternatives. I'd like to thank you for coming tonight. Give them a round of applause.